Hello, and welcome back to the Cinema Lounge podcast. I am your host, Garrett Inman, and here we chill and talk about movies. How is everyone today? I feel like I asked that when I just have no idea how to intro these podcast episodes. It is a Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Got done eating lunch about 30 minutes ago. And yeah, I'm just chilling. School started this past week, so things are about to get very busy for me, but I'm still going to try to make time to do these podcast episodes. They might end up being a little shorter just because reasons and things, just school stuff, and started a new old job. I quit the job, but then they rehired me for a different position because I guess just because they wanted me to come back. So I am now working again, and I'm doing school the same week. And going forward, my schedule is about to be a whole lot more hectic, a whole lot more busy, and frankly, I'm not looking forward to it. So I say that all to say, these podcasts might end up being a little shorter, might be a little rushed, just because I'm going to be a little busier with school and work and extracurriculars that come along with both things. So forgive me if these start becoming a bit more sporadic, putting them out, but this week you are getting an episode, so that's good. Today, I was going to try to find a movie to talk about, but frankly, I don't have a lot of time to sit down and try to pick out a movie and go, let's talk about this. So, for the time being, I think I'm either going to stick with either movie reviews or just kind of random film topics that pop up in my head. And I mentioned this last week, so I think I'm going to talk about it this week. And that is politics. The least divisive thing on the face of the planet I'm going to be talking about. Obviously, that's a joke. Politics. Oh, hold on, let me adjust my microphone. I just knocked it down. Politics are very divisive, and they ruin everything they get their little claws into. So How do politics, I guess, intersect with film? We've had there's been debates across the internet about, keep my politics out of my movies, and people going, they suck it up, blah blah. This whole freaking debate, and at least for me, I think way too many people misconstrue the other side's arguments, and so I just kind of want to talk about at least the way I kind of view politics in film and how where I think people take issue with it. But first, we're going to jump into the weekly headlines. And really, there was not a lot that I cared about this week that really had any news. The only real thing that I found was the Eternals trailer, and so I'll talk about that briefly. I'm still not excited for the movie. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to go see it. That and Shang-Chi, my time is valuable now. My money is maybe not more valuable, but it is definitely a lot more sparse. So it's come down to I gotta kind of pick and choose what I want to go see in theaters, and this movie is just one that's kind of on the chopping block for me right now. And the trailer was good. It was great. Like it definitely better than previous trailers, and I'm excited to see it come out and see what people's reactions are. Because I feel like this movie could either make or break the future of the MCU for a lot of people. And the trailer did a good job of explaining why the Eternals haven't been around at all, and they just kind of have been chilling while all these world-threatening things have been happening. And it's cool to see the cosmic side of the MCU. You got one of the celestials appearing and all that fun stuff. It was a good trailer. Not a lot to talk about, at least for me. But hey, we'll see. People will see it when it comes out, and we'll see how good it is. But yeah, I mean that was literally it for me, at least. There's probably some other news, but most of it I don't care about or I didn't see. So let's just jump into the main topic at hand. And I said this is going to be a shorter episode. I didn't really do a lot of notes like I did with the source material episode, which I consider to be my favorite. But I guess for me, what I want to do is just kind of explain why people are arguing about it wrong, I guess. Because I see a lot of people complain about politics in movies and saying, oh, well, I don't want politics in my movies. I just want to go and have fun. Perfectly understandable. I am all for escapism. And there are plenty of films out there that you can go and have escapism with. The issue is that, there's a comment that I read once where they were saying, oh, I love the new Suicide Squad, none of those politics like Black Widow had. And a buddy of mine was roasting him a bit. And yes, on its face, the argument it is silly to say, oh, I'm glad the Suicide Squad didn't have any politics in it. And I think there's something that's gotten misconstrued. People aren't upset with politics in general being in films and TV shows, right? Most people take issue when it becomes identity performative politics rather than something like the Suicide Squad that is just a story that uses politics to kind of inform the story or to kind of further the story, right? Without the politics, the story wouldn't be there. And I mean, the Suicide Squad's a great jumping off point. That's how you do politics right in a film, is you just have a bunch of great characters, a good story, and you have the bit of politics where the U.S. government does something illicit and then tries to cover it up, as they do quite frequently, as we continue to see year after year. They do something illicit and they try to cover it up by sending other people and getting them to turn on each other and all of that stuff, right? Yes, that is a political thing that they included in the movie, but they use it to further the story. It's not just, oh, the U.S. government sucks and we need to burn it down. No, it's just, hey, this story is about the U.S. government doing something incredibly shady, and then we're going to use that as a reveal point to kind of further inform the story so far, and then to add drama when Peacemaker, spoiler alert, when Peacemaker betrays the team and kills Rick Flag. That is a good use of politics because it informs the story and increases the drama. Classic stories. Animal Farm, 1984, George Orwell's bibliography, right? He uses politics all the time to enhance his stories, to make them almost like parables and warnings. But you can watch Animal Farm, and if you don't know anything about politics, you're completely disconnected. You still have maybe not a good time reading the book or watching the adaptation, but you can still get invested in the drama. You can still go along with it. It uses the political stuff to enhance the story and enhance the drama. Plenty of military movies. Independence Day, Saving Private Ryan, Hacksaw Ridge, Fury, all military movies. The military has become political, so all modern military movies include political elements to increase the story, enhance the story of men trying to survive on a war zone, even if it is, why are we here, or we question why they're fighting, but they're fighting anyways, right? If you're gonna make a Vietnam War movie, that that entire situation is embedded with politics. So you can't avoid politics when you make certain types of movies. The issue is we are entering into a time where there's more and more increasing identity politics, more performative. All it is sweet nothings, right? So consider, it's kind of a bit of a build off of kind of tokenizing characters for no reason other than to pat yourself on the back. You're including these random things in movies that have no business including them just to pat yourself on the back. I mean, if you look at Black Widow, it's not that bad, but if you look at Black Widow, every dude in that movie is either an oaf or evil, while all the women are these bad A's and, kicking butt and victims of their situations and all that. It kind of casts a bad light on males while taking them down in order to prop up females rather than organically propping them up. It's not as noticeable, and I'm just addressing Black Widow because the guy addressed it when he was in that comment. But it's not that bad in Black Widow. It's not like in your face about it, so people can still enjoy the movie as it is. But it's a mild example of it. When people get pissed off about it, it is stuff like, well, it's stuff surrounding the movie. So like Captain Marvel, people didn't like Brie Larson going in because she was making some stupid comments before the movie came out. And that kind of politicized the movie as a whole, and on top of journalists propping it up as it's going to be great because it's the first female superhero movie in the MCU. A lot of caveats there, but that movie was very in your face about, feminism and strong female leads and that kind of stuff, that it became a meme. And that's not how you do it. You got to make it organic. You have to make them work for it. All that kind of stuff. And that becomes a detriment to the story. So when people complain about politics, it's not politics in and of itself. It's this kind of politics where you have movies where people have to inject political phrases. So let's say there was a movie that came out when Obama was president, and suddenly characters were walking around saying, yes, we can, yes, we can. And it just feels out of place in the movie. Or you're watching a prohibition movie, and suddenly one of the main characters starts talking about modern feminism theory or whatever. That's going to feel out of place in the movie. It's going to break the illusion that the movie feels real. Oh, shoot, I forgot. There's another example, and I was going to bring it up, and it just popped in my head, and then got sucked out. But now I'm trying to think of the movie, and I can't think of the movie. But it's stuff like that that's going to pull people out. People don't care if politics are in a movie. As long as the film itself is good and tells a good story, or if the TV show is good and tells a good story, people don't really care until you start just yelling in their face about it. Start going, oh, this and that and this, because people get enough of that already in real life and in Twitter, on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. They go to a movie to enjoy a good story. The general population goes to a movie to see a good story. They want to go watch Star Wars and just have a fun time seeing this small ragtag group of people fight the Empire, even though the Empire is a stand-in for the Nazi party. But it's not in your face about it. It's not saying, oh, look at the stormtroopers, they're all Nazis. Look, they're wearing the Nazi flag and they're gassing Jews. Or, it's just, they're a stand-in for the Nazis. They represent the Nazis. It's a visual metaphor. Not a very thin metaphor, but a metaphor nonetheless to where people can enjoy it and not even have to think about that. They can still have their escapism. And that's where the best movies that have good messages come from, is you can learn the message from the story, or you can just go and have escapism, and it doesn't break the illusion, it doesn't break the entertainment or the fun with it. And That's where people have the problem with the politics. And a lot of it, too, is because it's become so blatant in certain movies and in certain TV shows, it has caused people to just become disillusioned with movies. So where something like Black Widow, where the politics of it aren't like, there's no instance where Black Widow fights a dude and takes like two really buff dudes, takes him out, no problem, which would be incredibly unrealistic, and then go, wow, girls get it done, right? There's no moment like that where it's just completely blatant, but because there have been blatant issues of it, and because it's been shoved in audiences' faces, there are going to be more people who take issue with maybe the coincidence, maybe the purposeful inclusion of every woman being a victim of a man, or every woman being, this kick-A action hero, while every dude is just a bit of an oaf or a doofus or evil. It could be coincidental, it could have been purposeful. Who knows? Except the writers. Or, sorry, I hit the mic. Or it could have been purposeful in order to highlight a prominent theme of like sex trafficking or abusive relationships that the people writing the movie wanted to portray. But because we have a world where every bit of political issues shoved down everyone's face, you have to take a side on it, you have to make a stand on it, or you're an evil person. People just get fed up with anything that resembles politics. So while Black Widow's not that bad of an example, you still have certain things that come up that people just, it rubs people the wrong way. I mean, you have the inclusion like in the season 2 finale of The Boys where the girls just gang up on the bad guy, I forget her name, Storm. I need to prepare better. But they gang up on I want to say like Shadow Storm. No, Storm Shadow's a G.I. Joe villain. They gang up on the girl, and they're all like curb stomping her. And Frenchie just goes, "Wow, girls really do get it, son." That was a horrible French accent. I apologize, but something like that inclusion that can rub certain people the wrong way, because it's just like, we want to enjoy the gritty superhero show that pokes fun at superheroes. We don't want these types of slogans in it, right? Imagine, and granted, I'm saying this too. Most of the general populace aren't political by nature. They have certain issues they vote on, or they don't really care all that much about getting involved in politics. They just kind of want to live their lives. And when they go to watch TV and movies, and it's just preaching down, which is also a big part of it, is when you're watching a TV show and it stops to lecture you about the evils of capitalism, or how evil America is systematically, or how racist everyone in America is, or every white person is, or whatever. It becomes preachy, and people don't like being preached at. There's a reason a lot of folks don't like going to church, because they don't like being preached at. There are certain preachers who will just wag their finger at you, and people don't like that, so they don't go to that church. It's the same kind of principle here, but in this instance, it's when people don't like it, or they don't like a movie finger wagging them, suddenly the entire force of the Hollywood industry comes down on them and calls them the most evil person on the planet, because they just want to watch a movie and enjoy escapism. And it has become this entire thing where Hollywood wants to preach their message, right? There's certain movies and shows they want to preach their message through, and if you disagree, well, Hollywood thinks you're evil. And then you have normal people who just want escapism. There's certain people who really like the deeper meanings. They want to watch the Lego movie and get the ideas of father and son relationships and delve deep into what the movie's saying. And then there's just people who are completely detached from this, like the movies they like, don't like the movies they like, and point and laugh at the people who complain about the politics, even though it's not the politics they don't like, it's the blatant finger wagging and identity politics. So it just becomes a whole kerfuffle. And I can't believe I just unironically used the word kerfuffle, but it becomes this whole crap show, which is usually how a lot of these types of controversial issues go. But I guess also to put it this way, I mean, Hollywood by and large is a left-leaning industry, so you're not going to see this anytime soon in a major Hollywood movie. But imagine you're watching a movie where, I don't know, you're watching like a spy movie, and these spies are going in and breaking into this warehouse, and it's run by a group of Croatian gangsters, right? They break in, they hold up the Croatians, and like the main Croatian gangster tries to pull a gun and gets shot in the face, and the lead spy goes, "Yeah, and now that's one step further to make America great again." Like something like that, where it's just a blatant political. You'd go, what? That makes no sense within the context of the movie. What are you talking about, man? And it's just like an injection of, we're going to take a stand here to say that we are on this side of the political aisle, even though most people already know we're on this side of the political aisle, and this does nothing for our causes, and all of that. All it does is just piss off people who don't want any of that in their movies. And it's, I don't think there's anything wrong with a person going to see a movie and not wanting to see that in their movies. Granted, you also have to know what kind of movie you're seeing. If you're going to go watch Animal Farm and, I don't know, you like communism, maybe don't go see Animal Farm, because that movie's going to piss you off because it doesn't like communism. I'm pretty sure that's what Animal Farm's about. But stuff like that where oh, well, I'm going to go see this movie that's very pro-military, and I'm going to hate it, and I'm going to get pissed off because I hate the military. Yeah. Maybe don't go see movies that are going to piss you off, but if you're going to go see a superhero movie, if you're going to go watch a Superman movie and there are blatant politics in it, that's not really your fault. That's the people who made a Superman movie and said, let's inject something about, I don't know, immigration in here because Superman is an immigrant, I guess. I mean, loose connection, but, stuff like that where there are certain movies and certain movie genres that should prioritize more escapism while embedding themes where people can pull deeper meanings out, right? Dark Knight, perfect example. You can go watch that and have your escapism fulfilled. But then you can also delve deeper into the themes of chaos versus order. How much freedom should you give people? Or should you just focus everything on security and not let people do anything? Stuff like that, where nowadays that kind of stuff has kind of become political in the time of the lockdowns and all that. But you can still have your escapism fulfilled because it is still an entertaining movie. You want to find movies that are entertaining and quality, and have those themes that you can dig into and dig deep into. And that's where the best movies kind of come from. Those are the movies that stand the test of time. That's why 1984 and Animal Farm have stuck around for decades. Because the stories though that are being told there are interesting, are compelling. You can have your escapism with 1984 while this guy is trying to escape this dystopian society. But if you want to read more into it and look at how this guy's life has been locked down by Big Brother, and how Big Brother is spying on everyone, you can and take examples of that and how too much government control restrains people and worsens people's lives, and apply that to the real world, or take themes out of it and dig deep into what the story is trying to say. You can do that. But the movie and the book allows for you to have the escapism of a good story. And that's where most people have a problem with it. So yeah, I forgot to write a bottom line for this. Usually I do. I typed this up pretty quick. So I guess the bottom line is when you discuss politics in film, you need to acknowledge that a lot of films have politics embedded into them. And I'm not going to go as far as to say that every film is inherently political. I don't think John Wick is inherently political. It is just a dumb, fun action movie about a dude killing a bunch of gangsters because one killed his dog. Like, there's not a lot. I mean, I'm sure you could dig up some political stuff and manufacture political stuff about, I don't know, the American John Wick facing off against the Russians and it's a Cold War thing. I don't know. Something like that. But a lot of movies have politics embedded deep, whether it is real world politics with like The Great Escape or racial politics like Do the Right Thing, or I'm trying to think of some other movies. You have something like 12 Angry Men where it's 12, I think all 12 of them are white, but different backgrounds. There's a German immigrant. There's a born and bred Bostonian. All these white guys that's sitting around a table trying to figure out. I think the kid that's on trial in the movie is darker complexioned. So you can have those political stuff, but people don't remember movies and TV shows for the politics. They remember them for the good stories. And if you're going to you can't sacrifice good stories to have your identity politics on display to say, oh, women good, men bad, black people good, white people bad, and all that kind of stuff, because it takes people out of your movies, it takes people out of your stories, it becomes a detriment to your movies and stories. And it just creates, it kind of shatters the fourth wall in a way that isn't meant to be shattered. You can have it break for comedic purposes or for storytelling purposes, but there's that extra layer to the fourth wall that breaks whenever you try to inject real world identity politics, where all it becomes is the movie and the movie makers trying to take a stand on an issue that people have heard enough about. And a lot of times it becomes issues that have already been long outdated. Let's say a movie was made today and they want to take a stand on whether or not the Nazis were bad or good, right? And they go, in the middle of the movie, one of the characters just goes, yeah, Nazis suck, and if you're a Nazi, you should kill something like that. That takes people out of it because it's just it's an outdated issue at this point that everyone agrees on. Stuff like that. I'm sure we're going to have a bunch of movies coming out that are going to be about, or they're going to include stuff about the BLM stuff that happened last year. That's already done and over with. And most people have moved on from it. They don't want to be reminded of that entire course of events because it's been settled. There's a general consensus on that kind of stuff. So people just want to experience escapism and have fun with the themes of the movie without being preached at, without just having the movie take random stands on issues that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And they just want to enjoy a film, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but when they complain about politics, they're not complaining about politics in general, they're complaining about identity politics, and you need to recognize that. Even if they don't use the word, because sometimes people just get up in their feels and they just attribute everything as politics. or they blanket the politics term over just identity politics. And I don't think it's an irrational argument to just want to say, sometimes I want to enjoy a good story and not want to be preached at. That's why Jesus told parables. He didn't tell the story and then say, and this is why you're wrong. No, he told the story, and then when people asked him about it, he said, oh, okay, yeah, let me explain the story through the lens of the message I was trying to convey. And he never tried to preach down at people with the parables. It was just an illustration of what he was here to tell, of his message. And that might be another way to view it. The Suicide Squad might be an illustration of the way James Gunn feels about the government. It's not a way of him to tell you directly, preach at you directly and say, this is what the U.S. government is, and this is how you should feel about it. It's just, hey, this is kind of how I feel about the U.S. government via this story about a bunch of D-list DC characters, where there's a children killing weasel and a dude who shoots polka dots out of his hands, right? And that's the perfect marriage of it. If you wanted to portray a political issue, just use a story to illustrate it, rather than, just telling the audience that that's what they have to think. People don't like being told what to think. They like to consider different opinions, rather than, and come to their own conclusion. So yeah, I think that's it. That was a bit of a mess because I didn't have a lot of time to prepare for it. I worked like 10 and a half hours yesterday, on top of working on some homework. I got some more homework to do today. I also have some relaxing to do. I want to just sit down and relax some today because I'm not going to get another chance to do it until next Sunday. So that's it. That's just kind of, I guess, my thoughts. If that might have been a little jumbled for you, and if it is, I apologize. Next week, I'll try to talk about something a bit lighter. Maybe Moana. I've been wanting to talk about Moana for a couple weeks. Maybe do a review of it, or just kind of talk about the general themes. I'm sure there's some new stuff coming out next week or this weekend that I could probably review, but that's kind of the direction I want to take this right now, is just shorter form, quick thoughts or quick reviews or whatever. Just so I have enough time to put this out, export it, and share it out, and record it, and still have enough time to work on homework and do that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's all my thoughts today. Let's wrap it up with the release radar and the weekly recommendations. First, the release radar. First up on our list, we got Sweet Girl, which is a Netflix original starring Jason Momoa and the girl from her name's Isabella something, but she's from the Transformers 4 or 5, and she was Dora. Not to knock her or anything, but I'm just like, that's the only thing I know her from. And she was in was she in Terminator Dark Fate? I think she was. She might not have been. I don't remember. But this is basically just a revenge thriller. I think Jason Momoa goes to kill some dudes who kidnap Dora the Explorer, because I can't remember her name. Next, we got Demonic, which will be in theaters, directed by Neil Blomkamp, a guy who directed District 9 and Elysium. District 9, one of my favorite movies ever made. Right now might be in my top 100 films ever made. That's another great example of a movie that blends the political issues and makes a really good story out of it. Addresses a lot of stuff that's happening was happening in South Africa, and kind of blending it into this story about aliens. So that automatically makes me want to check this show or this movie out and see if it's any good. I've heard Elysium's good, so yeah, go check that out in theaters. You got Reminiscence on HBO Max and in theaters. Hugh Jackman and Rebecca Ferguson star in kind of this like dystopian Christopher Nolan-esque movie where Hugh Jackman meets this lady played by Rebecca Ferguson, and she disappears, and he becomes obsessed with trying to figure out what happened to her. A big part of the movie is that Hugh Jackman runs, this place where you can kind of revisit your dreams or your memories, right? You can reminisce about your memories and engage in nostalgia. And there's some good themes set up. I've actually seen it. I watched it earlier yesterday, right before I had to go into work. That's what I do with my spare time. The movie itself is solid. The reviews make it sound like it's really bad. I don't think it's that bad. There's definitely issues with it, but the movie itself, it's a solid little movie. If it seems interesting to you, it takes place in Florida after most of the Floridian cities have been flooded, so they kind of have adapted to that. Everyone operates at night to make it more film noir-esque because it got too hot during the day, which is really interesting. The world it takes places in is really interesting. The themes are really interesting. The story itself is a little weak, but that's okay. If it seems like an interesting movie to you, I'm sure you'll like it. Next we got the Paw Patrol movie. Heck yes. Yeah, I think Paw Patrol started up right at the end of my childhood, maybe. No. It started up in like 2011. So my little brother was a child when this show started up. So I got my fair share of Paw Patrol in, and it's a cute show. I mean, it's a baby show for babies. I mean, what did you expect? But it's completely inoffensive. I haven't seen the movie, but it seems like that's the way the route the movie's taking, is just being a cute little movie for the kids to enjoy. So if you got kids, go take them to that. Next, we got The Protege, which is kind of like, I guess, John Wick, but with Maggie G, who, there's a very small amount of people who would be able to do types of movies like this where they just get to unleash themselves in a revenge killer. Maggie Q is one of those few. They're advertising it as from the studio that brought you John Wick and Casino Royale. So it seems like it's going to blend a lot of action. Samuel L. Jackson's in it. I think he gets killed at the beginning. Spoilers, I guess. I don't know. I haven't seen it. But the trailers made it seem like he's going to get killed at the beginning. And then Maggie Q goes after Michael Keaton and tries to kill him. So if that seems interesting, go check it out. Next, we got Night House, a horror movie that the trailers looked awful for it, but it's getting pretty good reviews. It's kind of just a haunted house movie that seems like it's going to try to address some deeper themes. So if that seems interesting to you, go check it out. Lastly, we got the TV show Hulu original series 9 Perfect Strangers, starring a great cast, a very talented cast, and also Melissa McCarthy. No knock to her. I just don't like her. I don't like her as an actress. I've heard she does really good dramatic stuff, and this seems like the direction the show's going in. So maybe she'll get to shine, but it's basically just a bunch of these people coming to this, I think, like, retreat and learning more about each other. So Nicole Kidman's the lead. You got Melissa McCarthy, Michael Shannon, Regina Hall, Luke Evans, Bobby Cannavale, all in this ensemble cast. Seems like it'll be super emotional. So it could be good. It could be bad. You'll have to watch it to check it out. I think new episodes air on Hulu every Friday. So that's everything coming out this weekend. If any of that seems interesting, this was kind of a slow weekend. I keep hitting my desk. I'm sorry. But, some interesting projects that might go under the radar. So that's what the release radar is for. Next, we got weekly recommendations. First off, we got Coda, new movie that came out this year. It's on Apple TV Plus. It's about a Coda, which is a child of deaf adults, I think is what it stands for. and she's the only only hearing person in the family. The rest of them are deaf, so they communicate through sign language, but it's a family of fishermen. They gotta fish. And while they're trying to grow their business and make more money in order to afford their living, a better living, the hearing daughter, decides she wants to pursue music, to pursue a boy, and starts forming a relationship with the choir teacher, and it becomes a good mentorship. It's a really, I mean, if you want a great heartwarming movie, watch this. It is the perfect movie to just lift your spirits on a bad day. I mean, it left me with a warm feeling inside. Yeah, I mean, that's really all I can say. The lead performances are amazing. The family is the best part. The way they bounce off of each other, the drama is palpable and real. The dialogue between all of them is just so charming and fun. I just love all the familial interactions. The choir teacher's okay. His introduction was a little rough, but he grew on me as the movie went on. It's pretty much just like an R-rated ABC family movie. You know, it's something that you can just turn on, not with the children, but with your grown family, and just have a good time and laugh and cry and just feel good inside. Feel good about the world, you know. Next, we got Futurama, the TV show. I just finished it this morning, and boy, howdy, this show's great. I really like it. Made by the same guy who did The Simpsons, and I'm never gonna watch The Simpsons. I am a completionist at heart. I gotta finish everything I start. And if I start The Simpsons, I am never gonna have a life. I refuse to watch The Simpsons because I'm not sitting down and watching 32 seasons, and I know the minute I start watching The Simpsons, that's exactly what I'm gonna do, because that's what I did with South Park. I sat down and I watched 24 seasons of South Park. But luckily, this is only 10 seasons. Really good show. Something I really enjoy about it is just it's a very humorous show, but what the best episodes focus on the main character Fry and his struggles with being in the future, or with his relationship with Leela, a one-eyed mutant, and really just struggling to adjust to his life and wanting to go back. Like, ironically, the show that is about being in the future, the best parts have to do with 1999 and before. Fry's old life, his relationship with his father, his relationship with his mom, his relationship with his brother, his dog, his great-grandfather. All of those episodes are fantastic. There's an episode they go back in time to Roswell, New Mexico, and a bunch of fun times, hilarious times ensue where Fry gets to meet his grandfather. There's an episode where Fry gets the cold, which has been extinct in the future, and it makes him reflect on his relationship with his dad. There's an episode where he gets an opportunity to go back in time and prevent himself from being frozen and going forward 1,000 years in time. And you get to see what his life would have been like. There's an episode where he goes to find his lucky 5-leaf clover and ranting about how much he hates his brother about it, but you really get to delve into his relationship with his brother in that episode. And those are the best episodes. There's a classic way most of the episodes end, and most of the best episodes of Futurama end this way, where it's these wacky antics that build and build and build upon each other. And then it ends on a very heartwarming note, where you feel something inside, and I love it. That's what I love about the show. So if you feel like watching 10 seasons of any comedy, I would recommend this. It's probably one of my favorite animated shows, one of my favorite comedies, just because of the characters and how they interact with each other, how they get moments of growth, and just the very emotional moments in this show just work really well. Also, Bender is freaking great. I love Bender. But yeah, great show. Finally, Training Day. Antoine Fuqua, a great police drama. Denzel Washington kills it. Classic scene towards the end where he's like, King Kong ain't got on me. I censored myself, but it's such a great line, such a great movie with just it over the course of like one day. Denzel and Ethan Hawke's characters build a relationship, and then it just falls apart. You gotta love it. Great performances. Just great, gritty police drama, and I love it. So yeah, that's it. That's today's episode. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Training Day, Futurama, Coda, any of the new releases. Whatever you think about any of it. Have you seen any of it? Yada, yada, yada. You know, all the things. One of these days I'm just going to pre-record and put it at the end so I don't have to say it anymore. But for now, tell me what you think in the comments below. Do identity politics bother you? Do you like escapism? Do you like delving deep into the deeper themes and meanings of film or movies? Whichever way you decide to describe it. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, press the bell, follow us on Rumble, YouTube, follow us on anywhere you listen to podcasts, specifically Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, 5-star review. It'll always help out. And that's it. I love you all. This has been the Cinema Lounge with Garrett Inman as your host. We just chilled and talked about politics and movies. And now I get to chill and not do podcasts, not record. I get to chill and watch movies or play video games or do homework, whatever it is. I'm appreciative of all of you for watching, making it this far, supporting me. And yeah, I enjoy doing this, and I do this for you, the people. So, I hope you guys have a great day. I love you all. And always remember, it's identity politics that people have a problem with, not just politics in general. And also, love each other. Politics aren't the most important thing in the world. Quit freaking hating people over it because they want a different candidate in office than you. Destroying friendships over politics is petty. That's what I'm going to end it on. Love people, be good to people, and remember, I always love you. This has been the Cinema Lounge. We chill and talk about movies. My name has been Garrett Inman. I love you. I hope you love me. I don't know. Have a good day. I'm tired too. I don't know. Whatever. That was the worst outro I've ever done.